Hello everyone, welcome to first ever Connected Educators Appreciation Day monthly meetup. You had a chance to meet the group and the work from Connected Educators Appreciation Day. I think it was October the 20th when we organized the first ever meeting, an 8-hour conference where educators around the world discussed their practical steps in education, their opinions, the obstacles they try to overcome, and so on. My name is Vlatka Butkovic. I'm the director, the principal, and partly curriculum designer in Butkovic Education Center. Today, my school team and I will try to describe the steps that we take in order to bring our students, to prepare our students for the real world. So, Iskra, Sunčica, Anita, and Vlado, would you please be so kind to... Oh, Sandra is there. We have an attendee. Okay, so Iskra, would you please say something about yourself?
Hi, my name is Iskra. I'm from Zagreb, and I'm an English teacher at the Butkovic Educational Center. I also teach Italian, but not so much this year, unfortunately, because there's a lot of English. So yeah, that's for me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. Hi. My name is Sunčica Trbovic. I work as a German teacher at the Butkovic Educational Center. I've been working there for 4 months only, so I'm fairly new. But I do have some experience in teaching, so I'll try to share what I've learned in the past 3 years working as a teacher.
Okay, hi, I'm Anita. I'm the other part of the curriculum creator. I'm also an English teacher and a teacher trainer. And I've been working with Latvia for quite a long time now. And that's pretty much it.
Hi, I'm Vlado. I'm a German teacher in the Butkovic school. And I mostly teach German, so that's it.
So we're basically continuing today the discussion that we had at our staff meeting yesterday. Yesterday we were going through the questions. Sunčica pointed out that there's so much theory in talking about education and that there aren't many or definitely not enough examples from the practice. We hope to provide some today, and if we get too theoretical, just give us a nudge, raise your hand if you're an attendee, and we can see a question, we'll answer to your question. So first, I spent last semester talking to many of our students, trying to figure out how they feel in our school compared to the public school. I'll just quickly explain that Butkovic Education Center is a private school where students attend mostly language classes and then robotics classes, communication skills courses, and so on. But after they come from their public school. So we don't see them every day, we see them once or twice a week, which is very challenging, something we talked about yesterday. The first question that we'll discuss today is how to achieve a relaxed learning environment. What I've learned from our students is that they really feel very welcome in our school. And this is the biggest difference that they point out compared to the public school. I'd like to wrap up your thoughts and let you, because you are much more involved with the students recently than I am. I teach less and observe more. So Iskra, Sunčica, Anita, and Vlado, whichever turns you take. How do you see your role in making it happen, helping students feel that relaxed and that open so that they, well, they basically never stop sharing their thoughts. I don't see them really having any breaks. Whoever wants to take the turn.
Well, I try to be as honest as I can with my students. I think that's one of the most important things. that they can see that you're honest, that you're not playing any games. And also, as I mentioned yesterday, with some of my students, with some of my groups, we tend to make small rituals that are only ours, and they are well aware of when they can do certain things. For instance, if they're older, I give them a chance to choose. I mean, we have to do grammar basically every time, and that's something they really loathe, but I give them a chance to choose which part of the class they want to do the grammar in, and then which part of the class they will do something more relaxed. So yeah.
Okay. If I may add, what I really think the most important thing would probably be establishing the relationship, just as Iskra said. Basically, this is it, establishing a personal relationship with your students. And I mean, the whole idea of our school, not just like my class or Iskra's class, like all classes and all teachers who work there, is pretty much to, you know, it feels relaxed from the moment you walk into the school. You know, so with all the little pictures and things that kids do, and the way they are greeted, the way, you know, like when I have little kids, there is always a cartoon waiting for them when they come into the classroom. So while you're like checking their homework or something, there is always a cartoon, and they can just watch and like sort of easily get ready for the class. And this personal kind of relationship also requires a lot of effort from you as a teacher. You have to show that you care, and they have to sort of feel and realize that you actually care about what they do and how they do it. And I was actually going through some reorganizing of my living room, and I found like a big box of little things that kids like, drawings and doodles and messages that I got from my kids. And actually, you know, it just made me realize that, yeah, you know, I'm sort of, I've been able all this year to establish the connection, and I'm still in touch with a lot of kids here. And, you know, when I see these sort of, you know, like pictures, if you can see anything, I don't know, but they are so funny sometimes. And you know, the messages, I have one here which says, "Dear teacher, this is for you because you've deserved it." So, you know, it like shows you're on the right path, sort of.
Okay. Yeah. What I try to do to achieve a relaxed environment in my classroom is that I always greet them with a smile when they arrive to class, and I always emphasize the fact that they're not in school, in regular school, that this is not German that they attend in the regular school. So I always tell them, okay, I'm not going to punish you if you don't do your homework, if you don't know how to solve some exercises, just bring them next time and we'll solve them together. If you need any help, just shout. So I always try to, there's always a certain there's a stigma and there's a barrier. It's really difficult to teach German in Croatia, so to say, because children are not very fond of German, so to say. So it's sometimes it's a real challenge to make the class fun and relaxed. And so I always try to I always emphasize the fact that they're not in regular school, that this is different. So we do things differently here at our center. So that will be the main point.
They can freely share their thoughts.
Yeah,
they can freely say what they want. If they don't feel like doing something, they don't have to do it. We'll just improvise. We'll do something else. So it's important to respect their wishes and be aware of them. Like recognize if they are feeling down or if they are feeling too tired. And rituals that Iskra mentioned, pretty much they all, you know, like winter time, they get their cup of tea, of their own choice. We have tea parties and they get cookies. So all these little things actually show that we actually care about their well-being and we care how they feel, and it's not only about learning, but how they learn.
There's another thing that we, I'm sorry, Vlada, just a quick thought. We noticed that they quickly learn how to communicate with us, but it's very difficult for them to be polite to one another. And Anita and I have been working together for 25 years. So through those 25 years, there really is a change in the way they communicate to one another. You can see that now they're not as used as they used to be in, you know, in the small talk. But small talk is very important sometimes while they're waiting for the class. Now they look at their cell phones instead of talking to each other, things like that. So that's why we introduced few very specific models of communication. We teach them how to follow those rules. Many of the shy kids opened up when we put a strict rule of not interrupting, which I just did to Vlada. Yeah, but you know, not interrupting. It's it's campfire conversation and first turn, last turn. But campfire conversation mostly is something that works like a charm in the classroom. We can describe it later. What a campfire conversation looks. What the rules are. Vlada.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think it boils down to how you communicate the expectations to the students. Well, I get the feeling that in public schools they're expected not to make any mistakes, you know, and they get punished for the mistakes. And I try to let them know that I won't punish them for their ignorance. You know, they won't have any repercussions if they don't know anything, because it's my job, you know, to teach them, and it's not their job to know things in advance. You know, so I have a lot of students that, mainly new students that come and are afraid to speak because they think if they say something wrong, they will get some, you know, minus or something like that. Well, it takes time for them to open up. They have to feel safe, you know. They have to feel that they're in a safe place where they can make mistakes, where they can try. You know, if you don't try, you won't achieve anything. But I'm afraid that public schools are fostering this kind of thinking, you know. So I try to counter that. Yeah.
One other thing that, I mean, providing timely information and feedback to students is very important. They don't get overwhelmed with a mistake, and it takes time to learn how to do that correctly. Dylan William is a fantastic author. His videos and his books, I'll type in the chat the name if you don't know him by now. But Dylan William reintroduces the way you start with a unit, and that's something that we discussed at our meetings and that we work now through the practice. You know, it's not only important to tell the kids what they're about to learn, but for them what the goals are, and they have to be capable of discussing whether those goals have been met or not. Difficult with the little kids, you learn on the go how you formulate the goal so that they are aware of it, that it's not only instinctively learning. And Sandra says that she agrees with you, Vlad. I don't know if you're looking at the chat. She says that Sandra lets her students know that it's okay to make mistakes, especially when you're learning a language. Yes, we want them to keep talking even if mistakes are made. We'll quickly go through the questions, then we can get back to any of the topics that we brushed through. So the question of IT tools is always there. Question number 2 is how many IT tools we use and what's the criteria when we choose them. We have a list, I put together a list of the tools that we mentioned yesterday that we know that we use on a regular basis. When I talk to colleagues around the world, they're pretty surprised that we don't use as many tools as especially people in the States use. The criteria is pretty clear, which Anita, you can describe what our criteria is. We basically are driven by the same criteria when choosing or proposing a new tool, right? I'll put up the list while you explain it, Anita.
Okay. Well, since learning a new language is basically difficult, these tools are supposed to be fun. Okay, so it's not only like they constantly have to be like hard work. It's supposed to be fun as well. So the fun part, like Kahoot, the quizzes, you can always bring it to the next level of fun in a way that we create our own Kahoot quiz with the kids. So for example, at the end of the school year last year, we did a revision in a way that they all got topics from the book, and they were supposed to make 2 or 3 questions, and then they had to sit at my computer. I opened the Kahoot, and they wrote down the questions. They offered the possible answers, and at the end of the class, we had like a Kahoot quiz of 15 questions a day and made themselves. So that was like a serious work, but it was still fun for them. And then playing and the whole other, like other classes of the same level, they played them too, and they were kind of, proud because they did something for the whole school. So these tools are supposed to make them feel like they're making more progress, they're having fun along the way, and just to keep it sort of close to all these things that they are familiar with, like using their phones, because usually they are not allowed to use their phones in public schools. Here they can just use their phones for like really productive purposes. And being on a computer is kind of something they do every single day. So why not sit in a class, do something for the whole class or for the whole school? So these are a lot of like little things that you can use these IT tools in a way to make it more creative, actually.
Yeah, and maybe more dynamic, right? Because Kahoot is really, really dynamic. My kids love it. And they've learned so much just playing Kahoot. They learned so much grammar at levels at which grammar is really not done in a direct way. They've done so much through Kahoot, and as you said, yeah, they love to make their own quizzes. Also, there is one tool, or I don't know if it's a tool or is it just a web page, but our colleague Maggie found out about it. It's to make your own Jeopardy. And my kids really loved it. Some of them even made 2 Jeopardies for the next class on various topics, and it was very dynamic, very interesting, very different, and they're still learning. And kids and even the grown-ups, we all learn faster if it's fun and if it's more dynamic. So yeah.
The link to that website is on the list that I posted in the chat box.
Yeah, I think Sunčica, you will agree with me, since we're both the German teachers. We're kind of we have a special we're in a special predicament with German and Croatia, since it's definitely the second most common learned foreign language in Croatia. But
I'm sorry, even though no one admits it.
yeah. But the exposure to the language is disproportionately lesser than English. We have English movies, English video games, books, and so on. But the German is kind of on the side. So. Since in language learning, language production is important, but exposure to the language is even more important. So I try to select the tools that will maximize the exposure. It will perhaps sound archaic, but YouTube is a very good tool for that.
Another fun tool that I like to use is called Babadoo. So it's a fun way to make children relax, make our students relax, to use it for a few minutes to for them to check their knowledge, general knowledge of German. So among together with all the other tools that my colleagues mentioned. So YouTube always, and
Okay. You're freezing a little.
He froze.
Got to.
Yeah, I wanted to say about Babadoom is a great tool, you know, because it gives you, it's not just for German, for any foreign language, it gives you, I don't know how many words, you know, you can practice, and it's very nicely done. It's it's a very good design, you know. But you know, learning a foreign language isn't just about acquiring new signifiers for concepts you already have, you know. The part of that is forming new concepts which don't exist in your language, you know. So I think it's important to hear and to see how the language is used by native speakers, you know. Well, it's funny when you see a person who's learning a foreign language and they use it as they would use their own language. So it sounds kind of, you know, clunky. So I think it's important to expose them as much as we can to native speakers. Yeah.
Can you please, Vlad, or write down how you spell Babadoom? Ah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, we keep trying, we keep test driving, and we are getting ready to start with some of the new tools. It's Flipgrid is what we want to try. We keep talking about starting with Flipgrid, but time flies, and as Iskra said yesterday, there's so much to do that we have to do that's in the program. That's the biggest obstacle, is to find the time to introduce a new tool and learn how to use it quickly enough that it doesn't take away time, but it gains on the other side. So we want to learn how to use Flipgrid. We're working on that, and we should be okay during this semester with it. Plenty of advantages that I've heard with Flipgrid. And since Anita and I wrote textbooks for English as a second language, what we need is audio material. And the idea is that students create the audio for some of the texts and dialogues in the book. Therefore, we have to learn how to create podcasts. So here in the chat box, you can see a link to a very, very good presentation that was that I attended at Change Global this summer. And I warmly recommend to go through that presentation, and there's the contact from the author of the presentation, where everything you need to know about podcasts and the advantages of podcasts, everything is there. I learned a lot during the session, but then I have to dig in and find the way to, you know, for our kids to just start using the apps that I recommended there and make it part of our classes. That seems like something that shouldn't take too much time, because kids are very proud when they have to record something, when there's a trace of their work.